Guys, excuse me. In this video, we're going to be painting the Snow Kitty. Make sure you have your paint ready on your plate, your canvas out. You need a jar with water or a cup or something, a couple brushes, and paper towel. Sorry, I didn't have mine ready. Paper towel. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the background, basically the sky portion. So using my bigger of my brushes, I'm going to mix up kind of a purplish blue. So I'm going to take a nice scoop of red, mix it in with some blue. And it's not real pretty on the plate to start. And you do need a little bit more blue than red, otherwise it'll be more of a red purple than a blue purple. You want blue purple. I'm going to take a little bit of that to the side later. For later, we're going to use that for some trees. It's probably more than enough. Just make sure you have enough to fill your entire canvas area, this whole space. Depending, my canvas isn't very big, it's 8 by 10. If you have a larger one, you're going to need probably, I don't know, double to triple what I have here. And my paint's all oozing. I'm going to take a nice scoop of white. This is going to increase the amount of paint I have because of the amount of white I'm adding. Double that up. 2 nice scoops of white. It will dry darker on my canvas. Acrylic paint always dries darker. And as I work, filling in my background, I am going to be grabbing bits of white just so that the background isn't just a flat, solid color. It will have some variation. So kind of like a periwinkle. That's kind of the goal. And I'm just gonna go in, start filling in, grab some white, spread it around so that I have uneven color so that it looks more like a sky. And it's okay to have lots of brush strokes. That's what I'm going for. Make sure you do get all the bits of canvas. See how the canvas is showing through? You want to get that all filled in. You don't want bits of canvas showing. I did put in tree markers, but unnecessary because I'm just going to be painting over. Don't need his little arms. I can add them back in later. Yours likely won't have them drawn on anyway. So sometimes I grab the blue, and then sometimes I grab the white. Just kind of go back and forth between the two as you work. As you see, I've got bits of both kind of blended throughout the sky. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now I'm gonna do the ground here, which is very snowy. I'm just gonna start with white. Nice clean brush. Just get that all filled in white. I'm gonna work rather quickly because we want this paint to still be wet so we can blend in a little bit of our blue to create some nice shadows. So just white paint. And if you do get a little bit of the blue in there, that's fine, because like I just said, we're going to be blending some in to create some shadows. So got a nice wet white paint all the way through. And I'm just going to take a little bit of my blue, dirty brush, a little bit of the blue that I made across the top, under the kitty. Just slowly blend down. Just back and forth, nice long strokes. It's nice and smooth. And a little darker right up on the edge. Maybe a little down at the bottom. Doesn't take much. Whoops, I pushed too hard with my brush. Got a lot down there. So it's gonna go back over it with some white. So something like that. Doesn't have to be exact. Just so we have a little color in our snow. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my trees. We're gonna use that dark color that we made to begin with before we added white. That blue and red mix. My plate is oozed just from me holding it. But this right here, it was blue with some red. I set it aside for later. And this is gonna be the color of my trees. So before, I'll just put like a line in to kind of give me an idea of where I want my tree to be. So there's where one will be, and I'll stick another one over here on the side. And I'm just gonna kind of flick down side of my brush till I kind of create this tree-ish shape. So the tops are smaller, and as I go downward, I get a little bit wider. I'm gonna tuck it right in behind the cat. It might be crooked, I don't know. When I paint from the side of my canvas, it's really hard to see my shape correctly because I'm looking at it from the side. A little crooked. Try to even out a little. It's all right. Trees aren't perfect. I'm just gonna bring it all the way down to the bottom here. Go ahead and just fill this in. Really the only part that matters is the edge looking nice. Nice and fluffy. Little lines sticking out of him. And about like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. This one I might make a little bushier. We'll see what happens. So I kind of start at an angle, and as I come down, I get straight up and down, and then I start angling the other way. If you just wanted to paint a triangle and then put fluffies on the outside edge, that works too. Put this so it's right behind the cat. Snow Kitty. And I'm just gonna make sure I get this filled in nice and full. Go right to the edge of my snow. And just add a few little fluffs. Kind of resting on the snow. And we'll let that dry before we put snow on it. We might need a Sharpie. The white should be fine. Should still show through our pencil. But just in case, if you've got a Sharpie, go ahead and grab it. I'm just gonna, my Sharpie's kind of dried up and nasty. Put his little face on. Should be able to dodge the scarf, no problem. Fabulous. I'm gonna paint his body first. Just some white. Mine's a little messy. That's okay if I get some of that color in there, because we're gonna be adding that in anyway, so I have some shadow, kind of like we did on the ground. Just gonna get the bottom part of his body filled in white. Go around the little scarf. Probably could go right over it, can see it fine. Yeah, you can. Clean up a little bit of my edge here. Got a little sloppy. Okay, so while this is still wet, just like we did on the ground, we're gonna blend in a little bit of our light blue that we made. Take a little bit on my brush. And on this side, I'm gonna kind of swoop it to give him kind of a curved appearance. So he's not just flat. If you get too much, just take some white. You can always lighten it up with a little bit of white. Mine could probably be a little bit darker. You know, my age. So about like that. It's pretty subtle. And then I'm going to do the same process to his little head. I'm going to fill it in white along with the ears. Some white paint on my brush. Then while that's still wet, just a little bit of my blue here. And come up and around his little face. Let me go a little bit further over. Let me get my smaller brush so I can get in his ears. They're kind of itty bitty. I'm going to take a little bit of my blue. Just kind of put little insides of the ears in. If you get too much, you can always take a little bit of white. And that one looks kind of dark. I mean, they both kind of do. Just kind of smudge it out a little, soften it. And we have our kitty cat. Scarf will do red. I'm gonna use my smaller brush. Just gonna get one coat to start. It might take two. Red sometimes wants to be difficult as far as coverage goes. And while that's drying, I'll go ahead and paint his little eyes and nose, his whiskers. Hopefully my brush is small enough. And just with a little black paint, little brush. Got his little eyes. And his little nose. Get the whiskers. Before I go and put the arms on, I want to get the snow on the trees. So using my small brush and just some white paint. Just Try to find some clean white. If not, no big deal. If it's got a little blue, it'll be just fine. And I'm just gonna kind of brush in little layers some snow that's kind of collected on the trees. I can do the arms. We're gonna make a nice dark brown for the arms. To do that, you know, maybe we'll just, yeah, dark brown. I feel like the sticks need to be wood color. I thought maybe we could just do black, but we'll do dark brown. So orange and black stir together so you get a nice dark brown and a little bit more black. And we're just gonna put in some little twiggy arms. Just, so it's gonna come up in this little space. There's one little stick. Then you need some little fingers. Those look so pointy. I want them squared off. And he's got arms. I'm gonna do a second coat of red on my scarf. A nice clean dry brush. A little bit more red paint. Just some red. Just gonna darken that red up with a second coat so it's nice and red and not pink. While that's drying, I'm gonna put little white snowflakes all in my sky. You can use the back, whoops, I'll make sure I didn't knock you on the, nope, you're still there. Okay. You can use the back end of a brush to get nice, perfect little dots, or just use the bristle end, either works. And you're just gonna put snowflakes all over in the sky. Probably my bigger brush bottom would have been better. Just however many you want. The only thing about doing it this way, with the end of your brush, just make sure it's nice and dry before you touch it, because these little balls of paint that we put on take a little bit longer to dry because they're kind of thick. So just be aware of that. They're very easy to smudge. So that looks good to me. And then lastly, we just have a little bit I'm gonna put a little bit of a highlight on the nose, just an eensy bit of white on my little brush. Just a little dab across the top, a little bit in the eyes. And then I'm gonna put stripes on the scarf. I'll start with this little bottom piece. And I'm using the very edge of my little brush. If you have a long, skinny liner brush, that would work really well also. And you don't have to put stripes on the scarf either if you don't want. Up to you. I should probably get them all the way to the edge. Easier said than done. And I believe, oh, one more little thing. Let's get some snow gathered on those little arms. So I'm just gonna dab a little right on the little arms, right in the little finger areas. That's where the snow has gathered. I just tap it on. This is nice too if you got some wonky branches for arms. You can kind of hide some of it. Should we put a little on the whiskers, or do you think that might be too much? I'm afraid they'll get weird. I'm gonna leave it as is. If you wanna add a little in the whiskers, feel free. And go ahead and sign. Maybe a little bit of my sky blue color right down here in the bottom. And done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I might see you in the next one. Thanks.